Welcome, everyone. It's lovely to see those of you who are joining me live on Zoom, and also welcome to those who are watching the live stream or the recording of the live stream. So many ways we can connect nowadays, right? But somehow having some of you here on the Zoom feels a bit more intimate than the live stream. So next time, if you're on the live stream, maybe you want to join the Zoom. It also means that you can ask questions or have a dialogue if you do join the Zoom. Whereas I can't respond to questions on the live stream. Yeah, so today's theme. So I do these open meetings twice a month on different themes. And today's theme is how to navigate life in chaos. Also, just before we get started, I'd just like to let you know that I've decided to start a new thing. On Wednesday evenings, I'm going to do a half an hour of I'm calling it a weekly Zoom satsang. So it's just open, no theme. I will just I'll do a guided meditation and a talk, and that's it really. It won't have time for dialogues there, but if you would like me to answer a question or speak on a particular theme, when you register to join the Zoom, you can, there's a space in the booking form to actually put in your question or theme that you'd like me to speak about, and I'll see how I can weave it into what I speak about. Yeah, so join me starting this Wednesday. So, before we get started properly on today's theme, let's just take a few moments to tune into how we feel in this moment, how this body is doing right now, just to acknowledge that. So just get comfortable and we can close our eyes if that feels good for you. Take a few deep breaths. You're all muted, so if you feel like making some sounds, you can. Maybe some big sighs, letting go of whatever you have perhaps been carrying today, giving yourself a break of this time together. Inviting your attention to be fully present here now with whatever is happening in your direct experience. Noticing any background sounds. Having a sense of the space that you're in, the room, the place, the chair, the sofa, whatever you're sitting on, the ground, whatever it is for you. Feeling the contact with the ground. Then you can start to bring your attention to your physical sensations or emotions, feelings, whatever is here right now. It's all welcome to be here just the way it is. Just noticing it, acknowledging it, Noticing also if there are thoughts. We just notice thoughts just like any other sensation. Thought doesn't have any more meaning or value or importance than any other sensation. And we may notice that as we bring our attention to our direct experience right now, that there is also, with the attention, there is the invitation to come to rest. And this doesn't mean that everything has to feel relaxing in this moment. It might not be. But just the very fact that we bring attention even to restlessness, there's an acknowledgement of the rest that is even beyond the restlessness, the presence that is beyond any movement, the stillness, the silence that is here, no matter what is happening in our human experience. When we stop and just meet whatever is here right now, we see it as simply this phenomena happening now, happening in presence, in stillness. We notice that this happening, this experience, whatever it is also happening in awareness. In other words, I am aware of this experience right now. This experience of sitting here, feeling a wave of emotion, or whatever is here. I'm aware of it. Then we can bring our attention back to the breath and the sensation of sitting here on this seat. And then when you're ready, we can open our eyes and bring our attention back to the screen. So our theme today is how to navigate life in chaos. Well, there's a few aspects that I'd like to speak about, a few aspects to this title. We start with the word chaos. What does it mean? What is chaos? Well, life is chaotic, essentially. Right. We may think that we can control life or we can make it how we'd like it to be, but life is continuously surprising us. Just when we think that there's a certain order to our lives, or rhythm, or schedule, or plan, something happens to rock the boat and change everything, or at least a big part of things. And for the mind, this can be very disturbing. It tries to create some sense of order in the chaos, and it will continually fail. Or perhaps it seems to succeed for a while, but then again, life just smashes up the plans, and we see that it is chaos. But perhaps chaos is not a problem. I would say that actually seeing chaos as a negative thing, as a problem that I need to fix, or that I need to find a way to navigate through, that causes more of a problem, more suffering. When we see that actually chaos is the nature of life, we can actually let go into the chaos. And we might actually see that when we don't see it as chaos, there is a natural order. It is only the mind that calls chaos chaos, as opposed to order. And in fact, the natural order is not the order of the mind. It is of life itself, which has a natural intelligence. We may not understand it. We probably don't. We may not like it. It may not be comfortable or easy. But when we surrender our resistance to this so-called chaos, then actually life can be quite smooth in all the bumps, all the ups and the downs and the life challenges. There's a smooth kind of flow in that, with that. And it doesn't mean that life is always easy, but that despite any real rough times or challenges, there is a sense of knowing that this is how life is meant to be, simply because this is how life is. It is the resistance, the fight against the out of control ups and downs and ins and outs and apparently chaotic way of life. Is the resistance to this that causes the trouble. When we think that life should be different, when we think that life should be how we want it to be, when we think that life should be comfortable or according to our plans, then we will suffer, because when life has other plans, we will experience the pain and the frustration of losing control. So it's really about seeing the nature of life. And in seeing the nature of life, we know that it is absolutely pointless and absolutely futile to fight against it. And seeing that is a freedom and a relaxation. It brings a lot of rest despite the chaos of life. It brings a lot of peace, even though our actual experience may not always be peaceful. And this is the paradox of life, that, that we identify with the peace beyond it all, with the absolute surrender beyond all of life experience. And we see that every life experience is here with its own unique purpose. We may not understand it, but perhaps even when we look back at past life experiences, even painful ones, we can see that actually there was a deeper purpose in it. Perhaps it was to bring us more to our heart. Perhaps it was to see that what we thought was true wasn't in fact not true. Perhaps it was to see that we need to keep losing and losing everything that we thought we knew or who we thought we were. So we may not understand the purpose, but we can keep seeing that I don't need to know. I don't need to control this life. It's not up to me, because who am I? There is no separate me that can control my life. In fact, there is no my life. My life is not separate from life. And it is when we believe that my life is mine to control and that it is separate to the life itself that we suffer and that we live in a dream. And this dream is made of fear. And it's not to say that when we wake up out of that dream that we never experience fear, but we see that fear is a very human survival mechanism of this animal, right? But it doesn't mean that life, that I am separate from life and that I need to protect myself from the rest of life. I am life itself. And my nature is wild and free and chaotic according to the mind, right? The mind says, yeah, it's chaos, but no, it's freedom. It's free flow. So the question of how to navigate in life in chaos, well, there isn't a how, really. And there isn't really even a navigating. There is surrender to that. But in practice, it is about sensitivity, really. First of all, it's seeing that I'm not this thought me, right? That thought me is simply a thought. And then whatever it says doesn't actually mean anything. But then it's the sensitivity to the moment, right? Feeling, sensing beyond what we think. When we can see that our thoughts don't actually refer to any me, and we can see that our thoughts don't actually mean anything. They're trying their best to just help this human to survive in the world. But the thoughts don't actually know the nature of life. They don't know how to live, really. So we don't take them so seriously and meaningfully. Then there is more sensitivity. We can feel and sense moment to moment the natural flow of life. And we can notice in ourselves when there is the resistance, and it can be subtle, right? We might just notice it as a subtle sensation in the body, or there might be very strong sensations and thoughts and emotions, depending on our own life story, depending on what we've been through in our lives. There may be more resistance to chaos, perhaps because in your particular life story, when there was chaos or some strong experience in your life, there was a great deal of suffering, perhaps, or trauma. And this can create more resistance in your life now when there is when there are these kind of ups and downs and surprises of life. But when we meet these moments of resistance or push, pull, trying to control, trying to protect, trying to stop life, we meet those moments with gentle sensitivity. We don't make them wrong. They're not wrong. It's just very human, right? The thoughts and the feelings, the sensations are just trying to do their best to navigate in the world. They don't know the truth of who we are. So we see the nature of this human as well as the nature of life itself. This human is limited. It cannot control life. It cannot know how life is. But it tries its best based on what it has experienced in the past or what it has learnt. And there is a compassion there for these humans. There is a forgiveness. There is love, unconditional love. Meeting every little subtle moment of resistance or pain, heartbreak, or a little nose that come up. Meeting those, feeling them, welcoming them. They're okay to be here. It's just that they cannot stop the chaos. They cannot really stop the natural flow of life. But they try. And so we meet them and we welcome them. And at the same time, we know the nature of these sensations. We hold them in love. And in my experience with that, they tend to soften because they don't need to fight. Those little moments of resistance, they're there because we're trying to push against them. If they're welcome to be here and at the same time don't mean anything, we're not believing in them, they can, in their own time, at their own pace, soften. And more, there can be the lived experience of this natural flow. And this is the journey of embodiment, essentially. And this is the journey that can take the rest of our lives. And we're not aiming for some perfect experience of embodiment. There's no goal here. It's a lifetime journey, going, in fact, nowhere. Meeting these moments with curiosity, with love. So this is how I navigate life in chaos. It's simply about meeting myself as life itself. meeting myself as this human, as this wonderful human that is an expression of life itself. And through this expression, I meet my true nature, who I really am as life itself. So I'd love to hear from you if you have any questions or anything you'd like me to speak more about on this theme. You can just raise your hand. You can also, if you'd like, type a question in the chat. But of course, it's always more fun to have a dialogue. Sashko.
If nobody wants to be the first, I'm sorry. I will do it again.
No, it's great that someone needs to be the first, huh? You get the ball rolling, right?
Yeah. I don't know if it's really directly, but yeah, it has to do with chaos. I had a wonderful dream this night about creativity and about, yeah, it was everything open. And it was so many possibilities that I woke up and thought, wow, it's all open.
Yeah.
And it has something of chaos, as I don't know then in which direction, but as it's all open, it's free, it's freedom, it's yeah. It was a wonderful morning.
Yeah.
And not
Well,
this chaos, but what I mostly would say oh, it was or chaos. I don't know. It was a wonderful chaos. It was,
well, that's the beauty also. That's what I mean by natural flow,
yeah.
right? That's creativity, right? The creativity of life or in art or whatever, but life is creativity.
And then it gets more like a play. It's,
Yeah. Yeah, and that you could call it chaos, but there wouldn't be creativity without chaos, right?
yeah.
We have to also include like the mess as well. I know that sometimes when I've done some painting, what frees me up to actually paint something nice is to first just kind of make a mess on the paper, right? Just to kind of splat some paint and like play around, and then I kind of get the chaos out, and then there's something that you find the natural flow, and it comes. And I feel like that happens with writing, with music, to I play the flute. Sometimes, I just have to make a mess and place all the wrong notes and then something beautiful comes through that.
I think that's what you said, that there's an order in that chaos. It's no
Yeah,
real chaos.
yeah,
It's chaos if you fight for your life or if you have to, but if you don't really have to, if it's only thoughts and only and in that there can always come something new. As all the other things, it's in put it in tins and boxes, and that you know what is in every box. But if it's something new, then yeah,
Yeah, the
This
mind
morning,
wants to see.
I thought this is God. This is that
Yeah.
what yeah,
It's not knowing, right? Not knowing.
not knowing, but always in movement and in
Yeah.
that something is built, something
Yeah, but
it don't stop.
it only can happen in not knowing. You know, as soon as we think we know, it's stuck, it's fixed.
Hmm.
But when we realize, oh, actually, I don't know how to live, I don't know how to be, I don't know how to express, then there's some space, and maybe it feels uncomfortable and we don't know how to be, but if we can stay with that and feel into that and feel into the sensitivity of that, because there's more and more sensitivity that comes through kind of taking off this armor of thinking I know, and there's okay, space to feel more. And then in that, we may discover this natural flow that comes. That is not, it's not that it comes, it is always. It's always there. It's like we tap into it, we feel it, we become it.
But something comes. Something dies and then comes and dies and comes and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can't
And
control
and
it.
and you don't know the next moment. This is that
Mm.
was
Yeah.
what
Yeah. It's out of control.
yeah. But this is the good side I'm talking about.
Yeah, but out of control is good also. I mean, we
Yeah,
can see it
yeah.
as
If
a
you if
negative
if
thing.
if you can give you inside that and say, okay, I don't lose my life for it. I can try or I can. There is no border at the moment.
Yeah. And of course, if it is about life or death situations, well, those mechanisms, those controlling mechanisms are very important for us, right? For the human, to protect the human. That's when we need them to work,
Hmm.
you know. But they work overtime, right? In our lives, perhaps because of the way we were brought up or our culture, our societies, the conditioning that we grow up with in most of our cultures. And there's a lot of fear, fear of just expressing, fear of just being wild and free and creative and chaotic and ridiculous. Or also to the freedom to express strong emotion, you know, the chaos of grief and loss and
Hmm.
heartbreak, or the chaos of joy and ecstasy and love, beauty. Yeah.
The chaos of fire. Yeah, inside all that.
Yeah. Passion. Yeah. Yeah. And in most normal societies, we suppress that out of, we're trying to control that life, that wild life force, because it's scary. It can feel very scary to really let it be wild. So this is how our cultures are built, on these very kind of in these stiff boxes. And it's heartbreaking actually when we start to feel into that longing to be wild and free. And it's actually the longing to live as who we really are, as life itself, which is wild and free and out of control.
But then it could be that we are alone and thrown out of society.
It's a risk.
That's the risk inside that.
Yeah. And that's why we tend to follow what everybody else is doing, because we're afraid to be rejected from society, because essentially that will mean we will starve to death or we'll be excluded. We won't have love and all the wonderful things that we feel we really need from other people. Yeah, it is a risk.
Death, but
Well,
also be born.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So we find our way to navigate in this life,
Hmm.
to survive still as these humans. Obviously, that is important, but at the same time, to find ways to reignite or come back into alignment with that passion, that chaos, that wild freedom that we are. Give it opportunities to express itself or to even just be felt. Noticing the places where we stop ourselves, looking at these places fresh rather than just assuming that this is how we need to be. Okay. Thank you, Sashka.
One question: does it come from heart? This chaos from the heart? Is it? No, it's from in every layer, or
It is the heart, but we can also not call it the heart. We can call it life itself. We can call it freedom. Doesn't matter what we call it, right?
yeah,
The
yeah.
heart, the heart is life itself.
I go back with a question. It doesn't matter. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I see, Tatiana, you've typed a question. Could you please share a bit more about this theme? Well, yeah, I think I need a little bit more of a specific question, or what about the theme would you like me to share more about? Or if there's someone else, you're welcome. Margot.
Hi, Unmani.
Hi.
I hope you can hear me well.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I was really resonating with Sashko's conversation about creativity and chaos. And yeah, it feels very appropriate for the situation where I'm in now, where, well, I finished this great project of writing a book. And there was a period in my life of 4 years where I really had a structure to create. I could
Mhm.
just wake up every day and write my book, and it was, yeah, also creativity, but yeah, I had this goal, I had this structure, and I felt in a really big flow. And then, well, the book was finished in May, and then, of course, my pregnancy kind of filled up this gap of, okay, the book is finished, and now, yeah, I'm pregnant and I'm gonna give birth, but now, of course, the baby is almost coming, and people are also always asking me like, oh yeah, you finished the book, so what are you gonna do now? And I could always say like, well, first I have this project to finish, right? Like the pregnancy and then
Mhm.
giving birth, and that's still the situation that I'm in. But as the well, I'm now almost 9 months, so as the birth gets closer and closer, I feel that my mind is getting first my mind could kind of rest in, okay, I'm just gonna stay open and I will see where life takes me
Mhm.
after the birth of my child. Then I will just see where life takes me. But as the birth gets closer and closer and there's not really any direction um where my career is gonna go next, I feel that my mind is starting to get more restless and is like, okay, the
Yeah.
universe should like come up with something soon. And
Look,
it's
Marco, you're in a waiting room, basically.
yeah,
You're in a waiting room because any minute you're going to give birth,
yeah,
and then you're going to be in the next phase of life. You're going to be a parent,
yeah,
and and that's a big project. It's a massive project, So, but you're in a waiting room now, and so, you know, being in a waiting room can be a bit, can be a bit uncomfortable. It's like, who am I? What am I doing? Where am I? You don't find yourself right now, and but as on the other side of the birth is a different Margot, total different person there. You will be reinvented as a parent. And so with that, you will discover what's to come, with your work. And, who knows? Maybe it won't be even a relevant question once you have a baby to deal with, right? Um, maybe it will, but you will be totally reinvented. And so it's more about meeting this discomfort in waiting, meeting this not knowing now and feeling whatever comes up in that. Noticing how, your mind has all these different ideas, or okay, maybe write them down, maybe do some brainstorming. There's no harm in that, right? Give your mind something to play with if it wants, playing with different ideas. Okay. Because now you have the time. When you have a little baby, it's going to be different, you know. So yeah, but it's just about meeting the discomfort of not knowing and waiting.
yeah, yeah. That one is I try, but yeah, it's challenging. Like I feel a lot of fear. Um, yeah, I don't know. Well, it's like a fear of wasting my time or not. Yeah, there's a lot of fear I feel about not being productive
Yeah.
or wasting time or fear of boredom or this emptiness. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
feel that there's lots of
Well, these are
restlessness.
this is the conditioning, right? That we should always be productive, useful to the society. Your career should be going somewhere, and you should have these goals. And you can't just be sitting around doing nothing, getting bigger and waiting, right? But this is exactly what you need to be doing right now. You know, Obviously it's not you, but your body is producing a new life form. Life is using you to create. So all you need to do is surrender to that right now. It's the biggest project of your life. Really, your career is like this important compared to this, what you're doing right now.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's good to hear because I've been thinking back to my childhood and yeah, there's a lot of conditioning around. Yeah, you have to work hard and you have to I almost feel as if like if I don't work hard, then I don't deserve, well, even to have a house or food or to feel joy or to have this baby even. Like I have this weird thing where I'm like, okay, if I work hard, then I deserve happiness or a
Mm.
house or whatever. But this baby is just coming out of the blue without any effort, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, but then I don't deserve this, but it's happening anyway. So how is this happening?
Your body's working hard, right? Your mind might not be, but it's a time for a break. Your body is working very hard. I mean, it's also just so natural. It's doing what it's supposed to do, right? So it's just an exercise for your mind, to just meet what is here. It's okay. It's all right. These to have these thoughts, and maybe, you can pour them out, like I said, just in writing or, but they don't mean anything, these thoughts. They don't need to be satisfied. It's okay for all these thoughts to remain dissatisfied. They can just be circling and circling. That's fine, no problem. But in the meantime, you are doing this waiting, not knowing. Yeah, and in the midst of that, just take care of your body. Just be with your body, right? It's doing this big, it's like, your project of writing your book. Your body is doing that a million times, more than that, right? Whatever work you put into the book, your body's doing that even more. So, enjoy this quiet time, restful time of meeting your body, connection with your body, connection with your baby as well.
Mm.
That for the last bit of time, your baby and you are in the one body. You have you share a body right now, not for much longer. And that's beautiful to have your baby in your body.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss it, I think.
Yeah, so enjoy the last bits of time of that, and the rest of the time you'll be chasing after this baby running around outside of your body. So, yeah, mm, okay.
Thank you.
Sid.
Oh, very good.
Hey.
Um, Good to see you. Good to see everybody. And
Oh,
honestly, good to feel what seems to happen in these sad songs. And I just want to say thank you so much for all of it. It's been tremendous. And with your first conversation, I just wanted to say that, when I'm around those people that are just alive and vibrant, and they obviously don't have any of the self-restraint that I have, I just love being in the presence of those
mm,
people. And I'm almost like so jealous. It's like, oh, I
mm,
wish I could be like that and feel like that or whatever.
yeah.
And that's fine. That's fine. I'm okay with myself where I am right now. But I just wanted to say that that complete aliveness is just such a joy to be around. And I'm still at the stage of looking at my mind a whole bunch, so I stay locked in my thoughts or whatever. But for me, so much of the time, a lot where um, it's not so much realizing the nature of life, because for sure for me, life, we've all had so many curveballs thrown at us that it's like, yeah, I can't control this insanity or whatever. But it's more looking at my mind and how is my mind dealing with this? And it's like, why do I think this is wrong? Why do I think it should be a different way? And that's very helpful for me to kind of disengage a little bit. But anyhow, and one last thing I wanted to say, a word that really pick, piqued my interest was because you're right. When I look back on my life so many times and things that seemed like they were, why did that have to happen? That was terrible. And then down the road, it's like, oh my gosh, makes a lot of sense or whatever. Was I've always heard the idea of, the meaning of something or what the mean. And you said purpose. And I really, really like, what was the purpose of that? And I think I'm just going to sit with that concept a lot and I think I know what the purpose is of all of this, but I'm still very much in the I don't know state. So I will sit with I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, just to say, when I use the word purpose, of course, I'm not saying that we have to understand exactly what the purpose is, or that what we think we understand from our past experience was the purpose. It's just we hold that idea of purpose lightly, you know. We don't know why
Yeah.
things happen, right? You know, and it can make us feel good also to feel, okay, it had some purpose in there. But sometimes we just have this sense of like, oh yeah, actually this really hard experience that I went through, it opened me up in ways that nothing else could have. So yeah, like thank you for that hard experience. That it can bring us to some gratitude when we look back at our lives. Yeah, so that's kind of what I mean by purpose. It doesn't have to be this kind of fixed idea of what it all means or something. Yeah.
My
And
silly little mind wants it to mean something though, and
yeah,
I know
yeah,
what it means.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because it makes us feel good.
Safe and secure, and I know
Mm.
and I understand. Okay, I got
Yeah,
this one. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
anyhow,
And the other thing that you said earlier about getting to know the nature of your mind, yeah, that's really key. Um, because when we can see that the nature of the mind is that it will always try to create safety, or try its best to create safety, and and in trying to create safety, it tries to control, tries to put things in boxes and label everything nicely, and tries to understand and categorize things. And that's what it does. And when we see that that's its nature, we at the same time can see that we don't have to believe every thought. It's just doing its job of trying to create safety in the ways that it knows. It's running a program, right? It's running the old program, but it doesn't mean that we have to believe it all. That's why, when I was saying to Margot about, these thoughts can circle and circle as if, you should do this or should do that, but they're just thoughts, right? We see the nature of them. They're uncomfortable with not knowing, they're wanting to control, and actually, they're just thoughts. They don't have to be satisfied. We don't have to know. We don't have to understand, even if thought wants to understand. It's its nature to want to understand, but it doesn't mean that we can understand it all.
yeah, yeah. Mm. And
So
lastly,
sorry, just to say, it's about kind of creating a bit of distance between the thought
exact.
the thoughts and who I am. I am aware of thought, right? I'm not these thoughts. These thoughts come and go. They don't actually mean anything about who I am.
And you ended the meditation. That's what I was going to comment. You ended the meditation of, being aware of,
Mm.
and yeah, to be able to have that separation, that little distance of not I am my thoughts. So anyhow, like I say, great to be here. Great to see you again.
Great to see you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Dennis.
Hi, Unmani.
Hi.
Great to be here. What Sid said um, made me remember that, you know, when we find the meaning of things, it's just we're creating our story. And for example, I'm a counselor, and I went through a lot of horrible things in my childhood and growing up. And I can relate to all my clients, and it's just an amazing thing because it helps them, it helps me. And I've worked through those things, and you can always, like, I just wrote a whole book on my life showing all the amazing synchronicities, but it's just a story, we put it together, but that's
Yeah,
what life is. For me, it's a game, it's a story.
yeah,
And it, when you look into it, it becomes amazing. If you don't look into it, then you're just, going day to day and suffering. But what I really wanted to say is while you were talking, I was realizing the chaos that I've been experiencing recently. And it's like time is collapsing. Like right now, I'm sleeping. Tomorrow, right now, I'm driving my car. It's like it's a chaos of, instead of time just being like an orderly thing anymore.
mm,
It's like it's all happening at once. And that's
yeah,
kind of a chaos.
mm,
And even though I'm doing something now and working on a project, I know I'm also in bed asleep and I'm also doing this and that. It's all happening at once. And
yeah, yeah,
what that revealed to me in this meeting is that it makes me more aware of the background. It's
yeah,
like it's indicating there's something underlying all this. And recently, I've had these visions throughout my life, but they're increasing where I have these moments of seeing some aspect of the truth, like no self, um,
yeah,
nobody's actually doing the thinking. Uh, and last week, I had a moment where I just saw that there was only one thing. And in that moment, which I can't really describe, there was just an incredible feeling of joy and freedom. And
mm,
then just 2 nights ago, I had another moment where I just saw that it's hard to say what I saw. It was like there was no self, there was absolutely nothing, but there was this joy that was happening, this like
mm.
freedom that I can't even describe. It just never lasts, It's just like it's momentary. It's like all I can do is keep asking, well, who's having these insights? Who's here?
Look, that is also chaos. It's like those moments, those beautiful moments of recognition or realization, they come and then they go, and we can't hold on to them. We can't do anything. We can't, reproduce them. Um, and simultaneously, like you say, there is no time. They're all happening at once. And these moments are pointing to what is beyond time, what is beyond those moments. So it's the mind that says, I want to hold on to those moments. They need to be a permanent moment. But beyond the mind, they already are permanent because there's no time.
Yeah, that's really helpful because that's what I noticed. There's a background to all this. It's like it's kind of like giving me clues, like if everything's all scrambled up, what's actually happening here? What's actually here?
Yeah.
And and really, like right now, all kinds of emotions are coming up, and they're just like, what is that? Well, it's just here. What
Yeah.
can I do about it? Nothing, just be aware. That's all I can do, I guess.
yeah, just meeting those feelings. Yeah,
Thank you.
feeling them, meeting them, being aware of them.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Dennis. So if there's a last question for today. Jonas.
Hello.
Hello.
It's lovely to meet you.
And you?
Finally. I was watching your videos for maybe 10 years, I
Oh,
guess. Again, and some break in between. So, I would like to know what is the way, how would you describe what is going on to finally being free? Because it seems like we are talking about identifying the wrong identification,
mhm.
but then there is no identification left, and then it's done. Or what do you think?
Just a small question, right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's quite a journey, like this seeing the nature of thought, as we were saying, seeing that thought tries to just help this human survive, right? And one of the ways it does that is believing in a separate me, and believing that this me is really who I am. And that's what we call identification, right? And as we can start to see the nature of thought, we see, okay, this is just a thought, this is just a thought, this is just a thought. And we inquire into who is this me actually? Who am I? And we see that any answer to that question is just a thought again. Then we are free falling in not knowing who I am, not knowing anything, in fact. And the mind might want to come in with all kind of answers, but we keep seeing, I'm not that, I'm not that, I'm not that, I'm not that. I don't know. And feelings come up in that gap, right? There might be fear, there might be grief, there might be joy, all kind of feelings can come up. And even thoughts want to interpret those feelings, make it mean something about me. And again, we keep saying, I'm not that, I'm not that, I'm not that. Free falling in not knowing. Never discovering that I'm me. Right? I'm this kind of me, even a more spiritual me or a more awakened me. No, I'm not that, I'm not that, I'm not that. Losing, losing, losing.
But at some point, there is a permanent disidentification. From moment to moment, there is not anymore coming up this need to ask, am I the thing appearing? Because it kind of is already known. So it's a permanent disidentification. Would you agree to that?
I would say it in a slightly different way, in a way, like the thinking for most of the lifetime, the thinking has been assuming that it is in charge, right? It needs to work hard to be me, right? And as this is seen to not be true with this process of I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this, and free falling and not knowing, the thinking in time gets, in a way, used to not being the one in charge, right? It is seen to just be thought, It's just a survival mechanism for the body, right? But it's not the truth of who I am. So in that process, there's a kind of a hopelessness that can happen in the thinking. The thinking, losing hope that I will ever find some kind of permanent me. And in this losing hope, there's a surrender of the thinking. It says, I don't know. I just cannot figure it out. I'm not the one who even can know, ever. So in a way, at that point, the thinking bows down to the true master, life itself. Right? And so that's this not knowing. Not knowing. That's the thinking that says, I don't know. Which you might also say it's a permanent disidentification. The thoughts might come up again after that, of course they do, but they're seen after that to be just thought, trying to know, but it's clear, it's lost. There's no more hope that it could know. Does that answer your question?
I'm fully with you. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. No, but and this is the end. What is the end? Is it just less
There is
thought?
no end. There
What is
is
the
no end.
uh,
It's the mind that wants the end. And that's the hope again,
uh,
right? And it's that hope that is sneaky. So it's about keep seeing the hope, how the mind wants a goal. It wants to come to an end. It wants to arrive at a permanent state for who? For me. And who's me? Oh, there's that me again, right? Hope and the me, they're best friends.
okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Hmm. Okay, well, I think we've come to the end of our time for today. Yeah, so just to remind you that I'm back again on Wednesday at 8 p.m. UK or Portugal time. You have to figure out the time zones for yourself. I think it works for most time zones. Yeah, and also at the end of January is the end of the early bird discount for my retreat in Portugal in April. So if you'd like to grab that discount, then yeah, book before the end of January. Be great to see some of you in person. I love doing these online meetings, of course, but in person, it's always better. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. And also, the next one of these is, I can't remember. Yeah, well, you have to look on the website. Yeah, it's in a couple of weeks anyway. Yeah, so sending you lots of love, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, everyone.